Miss, we need your lineup, please. Teams, does anybody need infield? We need to get this moving, so if you want infield, we need to do it quickly. Once again, Ole Miss, running line upstairs, please.
Hey, Khalid. Back. I want to quit giving you balls. We've lost a lot tonight. Hey, Zach. I'm going to try to get you a couple older ones. Hey, here's a couple more. I'm not saying they need to throw them, but if you get in a pinch, it'll work. Okay.
Is this one Lady? Lady? Willpower, Divine, urine. Oh, he already set me up. I'm full. Appreciate it, guys.
right, hey, welcome back here. RTC TV4 getting set for coverage of game number 2 of night number 2. It's going to be Bremen, the number 4 seed, coming out of District 1, taking on Mississinewa, the number 1 seed out of District number 2. So we're going to get those lineups here for you in a minute. I got a special guest here for you as they're getting some lineups here. The head coach of the Frankton, tell us your name. I guess I should have asked you that.
Yeah, my name's Tony Morris.
Tony, okay. So we saw in game number 1 here, I have not got a chance to see Frankton until tonight. Obviously, you guys played down here. I've seen that Plymouth team play a lot, and you guys held them scoreless. That is impressive. That is a very, very good Plymouth team. They got some great bats out there. And how did you do that?
Well, pitching and defense has sure been our calling card so far. We've played a little over 20 games, played a few tournaments before we got started in the state tournament round. So pitching and defense has been our calling card. Jarrett Morris was on the hill for us to start, went 4. I don't know. I haven't looked at the stats. I think he only gave up a couple hits, but he's just been a real standout for us. And then Aaron Hartley threw the ball really well to close, and he's a kid that always kind of gives me a heart attack. He always has to let a couple on and make it interesting, but then when you need him, that kid can really come back with great breaking stuff. So that's been our calling card, and we were lucky enough to get a few timely hits and beat a really, really good Plymouth team.
Well, that sets you up in a good position here, staying in that upper bracket. And you guys play tomorrow at 1, so that's a big plus. I had Morris allowing 3 hits.
Yeah, that's
and a total for Plymouth of 2, 3, 4 base runners.
Wow.
I mean,
that's a good night for us.
That's a good night, and that's, like I said, I've seen that Plymouth team. Of course, they ran through the district up there at Denver. And they put up 21 against a very good Fairfield team. So that's a great team. That's a great win. That puts you guys in a great spot. You're going to be taking on that Fairfield team tomorrow at 1. You know much about them?
I do not. I was down here just kind of helping out, taking care of the diamond and things, and watched a little of their game last night. They, again, looked like a really solid squad. Looked like they had more than adequate pitching and could sure put the ball in play. So it'll be another tough test for us. We came through a really tough district ourselves. Ole Miss, Madison Grant, Oak Hill was a really good team that didn't make it all the way here, but it was a real dogfight just to get out of our district. So I feel like it's been a nail biter every time we take the field. So we're happy anytime we can come out on top.
Well, I appreciate you coming up, taking a few minutes with us here, and congratulations on a big win. Hey, we'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to start actually my coverage tomorrow at that 1 o'clock game. So we'll see you back here tomorrow, taking on Fairfield.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you being here.
All right, thanks a lot. Yep. So Coach Morris from the Frankton team with a huge win against Plymouth. They come out with a 3-0 win, holding a very potent Plymouth team scoreless. So an impressive win there by Frankton to start things off here in the tournament. They'll be playing tomorrow at 1 versus Fairfield. So coming up here, we've got Bremen taking on Mississinewa in game number 2. Bremen's going to start off with Forbes, Van Buren, Bates, Leidig, Martin, Weldy, Schmucker, Wildauer, and Devine. Very familiar lineup here if you watch on RTC TV4. We've seen this Bremen team play quite a few times. And we got a strike in there to start things off. Forbes leading it off. On the mound is number 16, Stearns for Mississinewa. Old Miss, they call him. And there's a nice little bunt laid down Forbes, but it's going to drop foul for strike 2. For Mississinewa, Stearns on the mound. Behind the plate is Baumgartner. Leading them off when they come back is going to be Cox at short, Matamoros at center field, Rock at second, Stearns batting 4th at pitcher. Number 5 batter is Fortney at right, Yoder at third, Barnes at first. And there is strikeout number 1 as Forbes goes down swinging. Quaderer is the number 8 batter in left, and Baumgartner the catcher for Mississinewa. Corbin Van Buren, the batter now here for Bremen. Landon Bates on deck. Just getting underway here. Game number 2 of our Friday night coverage between Bremen and Mississinewa. Game number 4 of our coverage here of the Town and Country 12U state finals here from Frankton, Indiana. And Van Buren fouls that one back, so the count goes full here for Corbin. Got a big day tomorrow. Games at 9, 11, 1, 3, 5:30, and 7:30 tomorrow. Van Buren's going to reach on a walk. It's going to bring up number 8, Landon Bates, with Silas Ladig on deck. That one's going to be fouled back by Bates. I see Landon's grandparents made the trip down here, so I'll give them a shout out. His grandpa Steve is a big supporter of the Marshall County 4-H Fair. And back over Van Buren. Looked like he might have been sleeping a little bit. They make the play back over to first. He's able to get back in on time. Bates, no balls, 2 strikes. Bates fouls that one back, stays alive. Just misses on that one. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Bates goes down for out number 2, bringing up Silas Lading with 2 outs and 1 on. Caden Martin on deck for Bremen. That's popped up. Could be playable in foul territory, and it is for out number 3. So Bremen gets 1 on with the walk, leaves him on. No runs, no hits, 1 left on for Bremen. Coming back for Mississinewa in the bottom of the first. It's going to be Cox, Matamoros, and Rock when we come back here on RTC TV4. right, welcome back here to beautiful Frankton Town and Country Youth League field as we get set to go with the bottom of the first here for Mississinewa. It's going to be number 44, Cox, leading things off. Cox, the shortstop here for Mississinewa, going up against Silas Lading, the pitcher from Bremen. Lading gets that one in for strike number 1. There's a shot out into right. That's going to drop in. Cox is going to be aboard with a single to lead things off here for Ole Miss. It's going to bring up number 2, center fielder Matamoros. Lady gets that one in for strike 1. Again, if you want to, if you're watching us at home and you want to get a shout out here live on the air, give me a tweet at Twitter. We're on at RTCTV4 at Twitter, or you can go to Facebook and get on our Facebook page. Look for RTCTV4 on Facebook. And the strikeout, Lady gets the out. Matamoros goes down looking, bringing up Rock with Stearns on deck with one down here in the bottom of the first. Just a little high on that one by Ladig. A shot over to short. Can they turn it in time for out at second? Not able to turn it into a double play. They get the lead runner Cox on the fielder's choice for out number 2. Rock is aboard at first for the pitcher Stearns with the right fielder Fortney on deck. Swing and a miss from the pitch from Ladig for strike number 1. That one is going to be in foul territory for strike number 2. Just in foul territory there off the left field line. So no balls and 2 strikes for Stearns. And in there for strike 3. So Bremen gets out of the first. The leadoff runner Cox gets on, but they get him out and they leave 1. No runs on 2 hits, 1 left on for Mississinewa in the first. After 1, the score is Bremen 0, Mississinewa 0. We'll come back for Bremen's portion of the second. It's going to be Martin, Weldy, and Schmucker when we come back here on RTC TV4. All right, Caden Martin going to lead things off here for Bremen. Knotted at zeros here after one. Good inning by both teams on the defensive side. It's going to be Martin, Weldy, and Schmucker for Bremen here in the top of the second. Stearns on the mound. Nice little bunt. Let's see, Martin, that's going to be a little too hard, I think. And in time, made it out to Stearns a little too quick. 1-3 put out for out number one. Seen Martin lay down some really good bunts up at Denver. That one just a little bit too hard, didn't get it to die off as quick as he'd hoped to. It's going to bring up Weldy with Schmucker on deck. Weldy able to get away from that. That one catches the outside corner. One ball, one strike here for Brady Weldy with Jeffrey Schmucker on deck for Bremen. And right across the outside corner for strike two. One thing these hitters are going to have to realize, they're given that outside corner, so they're going to have to step up on that plate and be swinging at those balls. There he goes, gets that one. That's a foul tip. Weldy able to stay alive. These umps tonight doing a very, very good job, being very consistent with their strike zone throughout both sides. Really appreciate the efforts. And Weldy's going to go down swinging for out number two. That's going to bring up Schmucker. Noah Wildauer on deck for the Lions. That one's going to miss outside. One ball, no strikes. Schmucker with a swing and a miss on that, makes it 1-1. Beautiful night here at Frankton. You couldn't ask for a better evening. Not too warm, but warm enough so you know that it is summer. Schmucker down to his last strike here. Two balls, two strikes for Schmucker. Nobody on with two down here in the top of the second. And it's going to be fouled back. And a great play. That's a hard play right there as a catcher with that ball trailing away from him. A nice job there by Bumgardner making that catch for out number three. So Bremen goes down 1-2-3 here in the top of the second. No runs, no hits, nobody left on base for the Lions. So when we come back, it's going to be Mississinewa with Fortney, Yoder, and Barnes coming up. After an inning and a half, score remains Bremen 0, Mississinewa 0.
like we were doing that first season, players included. Of course, football, basketball, volleyball, softball, baseball. Has not done rugby.
I think Pendleton used to have a rugby team.
Really? There's not a rugby around here.
I think Pendleton used to.
All right, here we go. Bottom of the second. No score here between Bremen and Mississinewa. And the right fielder, number 4, Fortney, leading things off here for Ole Miss. Fortney, Yoder, and Barnes, the first 3 batters. There's a shot up the middle. Nice play over by Short. Not in time, but what a play over there at Short. And a nice job by Fortney to beat out that throw. The infield single gets Fortney on for Yoder with Barnes on deck. Oh, just missed him. Caden Martin over there at short, he thought he had him, but in just barely is Fortney. So Mississinewa getting on the board or getting on the bases. And they're not wasting any time getting around the bases, are they? They're gonna move around there. And next pitch, Fortney steals third. So just like that, he's at third base. 1 ball, 1 strike, I believe, is the count to Yoder. And Fortney with the aggressive base running is able to come home. Yoder is out on the unassisted play there at first. But Mississinewa gets on the board with their aggressive base running here in the bottom of the second. That's going to bring up first baseman Barnes with Quadrer. Hope I'm saying that right, on deck. That one is hit hard out into the park there off of first base for strike 2. Hopefully everybody was able to move out of the way of that one. Barnes able to foul that one back, staying alive. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Quadrer on deck with Baumgartner in the hole for Mississinewa. 1 run across here in the bottom of the second for Ole Miss. That's a little knuckler there, and gonna drop foul, so that'll stay 1 ball, 2 strikes for Barnes. Lady gets Barnes swinging for strike number 3, out number 2. And that's going to bring up number 14, Quadrer, the left fielder, with Baumgartner on deck. There's a shot, little hopper over to second, play over to first in time for out number 3. But Mississinewa gets on the board with the hit by Fortney and 3 stolen bases. And after 2, it's Bremen 0, Mississinewa 1. We'll come back here with the top of the third for Bremen. It's going to be Wildauer, and Devine. Be back here in just a moment on RTC TV4. All right, welcome back here, RTC TV4 in game number 2 of our coverage tonight, game number 4 of our coverage here so far at Frankton 12U State Finals. Been a fun couple of days down here at Frankton, thanks to all the folks, Paul over here and all the crew. Been very courteous to us here and helping us out with our coverage here so far. And starting things off here in the top of the third, Noah Wildauer takes that one outside, ball 2. And Wildauer's going to take that one for strike 1. 2 balls, 1 strike. Jack Wildauer on deck with Devine in the hole for Bremen. That one shot over to first. That was a close play there. Dropped at first initially, recovered in time for the out. It's going to bring up Jack Wildauer with 1 out. Chase Devine on deck for the Lions. That one misses outside. Stearns on the mound here in the third for Mississinewa. That one back on the inside corner, so 2 balls, no strikes here to Wildauer. That one right down the middle. 2-1 count. The winner of this game will play Rochester tomorrow at 3. The loser drops down to play Lewis Cass tomorrow at 11 a.m. Count is full now for Wildauer. Nobody on with 1 down here in the top of the third. And Wildauer is going to get the walk. So 1 on for Devine with Forbes on deck. That one right down the middle for strike 1 to Devine. Chase able to hold off on that one. He thought about it. 2 balls, 1 strike. There's a little blooper, but the right fielder was in, and right in the perfect position out there in right. I don't know if the coach put him in that spot or if he did, but Fortney was in the perfect spot for that. Makes the out for out number 2. Bringing up B.J. Forbes. Second time up for Forbes. Struck out in the first. Corbin Van Vuren on deck. Squares up, and nice bunt, but it's going to dribble foul. There's a shot and a nice play over there at third by Yoder, going back, making the catch for out number 3. So Bremen leaves 1 on. No hits here in the top of the third. No runs for the Lions. After 2.5, the score remains Mississinewa 1, Bremen 0. When we come back, it's going to be Bumgardner, Cox, and Matamoros for Mississinewa here in just a moment. Thanks for tuning in to RTC TV4. All right, going here into the bottom of the third, leading off is Bumgardner for Ole Miss. Mississinewa leads 1-0 after 2.5. Silas Ladig on the mound here in the third for Bremen. And 2 pitches, 2 strikes to Bumgardner. Gonna have to protect here, 0-2 count. That one outside just a little bit there for 1 ball, 2 strikes. So 2 balls, 2 strikes here for Bumgardner. No outs, just getting going in the bottom of the third. And after an 0-2 count here, Ladig throws 3 balls in a row, and now the count is full here to Bumgardner. Payoff pitch from Ladig. Down the middle, strike 3 for out number 1. Bumgardner goes down looking, brings up the leadoff hitter, number 44, Cox. Cox had a single in the first and was picked out with the fielder's choice. That one's going to hop away from the right fielder, going all the way to the fence. Cox is around second. He's still going, and he's going to be in at third with a stand-up triple. Nice hit out there, and that ball had some spin on it. It wasn't anything the right fielder could do. That just spun away from him. So Cox in at third for the center fielder, number 2, Matamoros. 1 down, 1 on here for Matamoros. That one gets away. Bump. Safe. Cox able to make it home on the pass ball. Putting another run on the board for Mississinewa, making the score 2-0. One ball, 1 strike for Matamoros. There's a little knuckler. That could be trouble right in the middle of nobody, but a nice play. Ladig over. He made up some ground in a hurry for the out. Good job fielding his position there from the pitching mound. Out number 2 brings up the second baseman, Rock. Rock had a single on the fielder's choice back in the first. Pitcher Stearns is on deck for Mississinewa. 2 down here in the bottom of the third. There's a pop up in the shallow center, actually deeper than shallow center, but the play is made out there for out number 3. But Mississinewa adds another run to their lead after 3. Mississinewa leads by a score of 2-0 over Bremen. We'll come back here top of the 4th. Van Buren, Bates, and Ladig coming up for the Lions. Be back here in a moment. Thanks for tuning in to RTC TV4. right, leading things off here in the top of the fourth for Bremen, number 2, Corbin Van Buren. And he lays down a bunt. Nice play there by the catcher for the out. Van Buren goes down for out number 1. It's going to bring up the second baseman, number 8, Landon Bates. Landon struck out in the first in his only plate appearance of the evening. Swings and misses on a high fastball for strike 1. That one is outside, makes the count 1 ball, 1 strike. We have 1 out here in the top of the fourth for Bremen. Landon Bates at the plate with Silas Lading on deck. That's going to be foul tipped for strike number 2. Beautiful night for baseball here at Frankton. We had a great one in the first game with Frankton defeating Plymouth by a final score of 3-0 to advance. They're going to play Fairfield tomorrow at 1. The winner of this one is going to advance to play Rochester tomorrow at 3. In the losers bracket, Madison Grant and Plymouth will play at 9 a.m. Bates walks. And Lewis Cass is going to be playing the loser of this game at 11 a.m. Lading up, fouls that one back. Caden Martin on deck for Bremen. That one outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. That one's popped up. Let's see where it's coming down. And the catch made by Stearns in between the first base line and the pitcher's mound. For out number 2. That's going to bring up Caden Martin. He grounded out to the pitcher, his only plate appearance. Comes to the plate with 1 out, 1 on, or 2 outs and 1 on. Brady Weldy on deck. Have a conference there at the mound. Coach talking things over with his pitcher. All right, back to action here. Martin has 1 ball, no strikes. Swing and a miss on that one for strike 1. Martin swings and misses. Count goes to 2-2 with 2 down. Landon Bates on first for Bremen. Ball gets away. Bates is going to move over to second. That's the first time that Bremen has been able to get a runner past first here in the game. Count is full for Martin. Martin swing and a miss, strike 3, out number 3. No runs, no hits, 1 left on for Bremen. After 3.5, it's Mississinewa 2, Bremen 0. When we come back here with the bottom of the 4th, For Mississinewa, it's going to be Stearns, Fortney, and Yoder. All right, welcome back as we get set to go with the bottom of the fourth here, RTC TV4. And Paul Browning was sitting right here next to me. I'm like, I'm going to put the headset on you and do a little interview. So first off, Paul, beautiful park, beautiful field. Thank you for everything you guys have done. It's a lot of work to put on a state tournament, isn't it?
Yes, it is. We enjoy this. It's a great thing for Frankton. Last weekend we hosted the 8U semi-state tournament, so our field's showing some wear from the 18 games we had last weekend. But I think it looks fabulous. It's holding up pretty well, and we've seen some great baseball the last 2 days.
Yeah, we've been blessed with some great games. Of course, that win there by your Frankton team in game number 1 here tonight, that was a great game. We talked to the coach a little bit afterwards, and they held a Plymouth team scoreless. That's a really good Plymouth team, and they held them scoreless. That was a really good win for Frankton.
We've had some great games. I saw all the coaches as they come in and check into the tower. Everyone talked about how great Plymouth was. I thought our boys came out, pitched well. We had some great there was a great catch in right field there towards the end of the game, and some great foul ball catches that just kind of helped us protect those 3 runs.
Yeah, you got the 3 runs there on one big hit in the third, and we're able to protect that lead. So that's a good win there for Frankton against a very good Plymouth team. And like you said, all the games, last night we had some good games with Fairfield, Madison, Grant. That turned out to be a good game. Rochester, Lewis Cass. You get to this age level, you get to this point in this tournament, and there's some pretty good quality baseball being played.
I've enjoyed the games. They've been fabulous. Last night, Madison Grant, the Yagi kid, what a hit.
Stearns.
What a great catch.
Oh, great catch out there in center. Who you guys got? Is that Forbes in center field for Bremen?
I believe that's correct.
Forbes out there making that catch. That was a spectacular catch out there, getting out number 1 on a well-hit ball from Stearns.
But last night, the Yagi boy from Madison Grant pitched 4 great innings. That was a fabulous game, and Madison Grant just kind of lost it there, at the top of the 5th, and got down a little bit and wasn't able to come back. But it was the first 4 innings was a fabulous game, and tonight we've seen some great ball, and this one's turned out pretty good as well.
So you say you had an 8U tournament here, and your field's a little war. It looks pretty good, though. I mean, it's maybe a little bit there around the pitching mound, but it looks like it's holding up pretty well.
Yeah, over the course of the years, as you add material to dry it out or whatever you're going to do to the infield, it builds up quite a bit. So at the end of last year, we came in and stripped it back down and put new sod in. And, we play we had 12 rec league teams. Each team gets 12 games, so it gets a lot of use. And the baselines of the 8U age bracket last weekend, almost every kid runs to first. So we're starting to see some wear on the baselines that we didn't see during the season. But it's holding up fantastic. We're happy with the way it's looking. And if we can get rid of some of this dead sod when the season's over and be ready for next year, it'll be great.
One thing that I noticed here versus our field at Rochester, and I don't know what the preference is or what the rules are, but you have sod on your first and third baselines. There's a hit over to short. Nice play.
Nice play.
In time. What a play over there by the shortstop, number 14, Caden Martin, getting that out. That was a cannon.
Yes, it was.
He threw that out of the hole there at short, and nice play.
Yeah, this shows Mississinewa hit one earlier, pretty much the same play, but that lead, I think it was the leadoff kid, is so fast that he made it to first on that same play.
So Yoder at bat with 2 down here. So sod versus no sod, is that just kind of a preference thing on the baselines?
I'm a traditionalist. I love the dirt baselines. However,
that gets
great
through.
hit.
Yoder's going to be on.
As you have rec league and you rely on volunteers to help coach and help break the field and do maintenance, we always have those guys that don't understand if you rake the baselines back and forth, you create divots and create ledges that you don't want in baseball. So it really becomes a maintenance issue. So if you put sod in the whole thing, you mow them, they play better, you don't hold the water, and it holds up pretty well.
All right. Well, it looks beautiful, and the weather has been perfect after last week. There's another shot. They're going to find the gap there in right, and Yoder, he's going to go all the way to third, and then on the throw, Barnes will move over to second. So Mississinewa with a bit of a threat here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th.
The right fielder's starting to get a workout out there.
He is. 2 shots right there in that spot, finding that gap in between the first and second basemen. This is a pretty good Bremen team, too. I saw them play 3 or 4 games last week in the semi-state. They're a little bit younger than probably most of the teams. I think they have a couple of the kids that still have another year. But this is a team that came out in game 1 last week in the semi-state and put a little bit of a hurting on Rochester, made them play out of the losers bracket right out of the gate.
That Rochester team looked pretty good last night.
Yeah, they've got some kids on there. The whole thing that we've talked about with Rochester all year long is when they're on, they're really good. It's probably like that with anybody. They do have a tendency to kind of hang their heads a little bit. And there's a swing and a miss, strike out for out number 3. So Bremen able to get out of a little jam there, leave 2 on, and keeps the score at 2-0 in favor of Mississinewa. So, Paul, I can't thank you enough for all your help and getting us set up and helping out. And, I mean, you guys bringing me food up here between the games. And, I mean, it's been fun. I've enjoyed coming down here. It's a little bit of a drive, but I think I got rolled into the house about 12:01 last night or this morning. But
I got a call from John Catlin, the head umpire for Town and Country, and he told me you were going to come down and do 1 game or 2 games when Rochester played, and he said there's a chance that you'd do more games. So we were really excited we were going to see 2 games.
Yeah.
And now that we're getting more of those, it's great, and I'm very thankful you were here to watch our team.
Yeah.
and
I'm glad it was too. That was a great game.
Televise our win here at State.
Well, I'm glad to be here, and I told myself, I was going to see how the connection worked, because we were struggling last week at Denver, but we fought through it. I said if it was the same kind of connection, if we were having some connectivity issues like we did there, that, I'd probably just do the Rochester and then call it. But everything went so good last night, I'm like, I got to come back. And, I enjoy it. I'm like a kid doing this job. I mean, I actually get paid to do this by, RTC. I mean, I don't know what they were thinking hiring me to do this, but it's fun. I enjoy every minute of it. I'm getting close to my first year full-time with them. And actually last year we did a bunch of these games up at Rochester, and that was kind of the kickoff to getting things going. We did somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 games in school.
That's
so
phenomenal.
Football, volleyball, basketball, girls basketball, boys basketball, wrestling, swimming, all that stuff. We did close to 500 live events for all 8 of our, through the 8 schools that we cover. So
that's fantastic.
Nothing official, but I don't think there's anybody in the country that came close to 500 productions.
I wish we had something around here that would do this for us. And we've had a great basketball team in Frankton for quite some time, and so it'd be nice to televise more of those games. So we really appreciate you coming. Enjoy having you here. I've been sitting in the tower most of the time while you're here, and I get a little bit of extra excitement out of it when I hear you get excited about the great catch. Or we had last night, there was a kid that missed a play. I believe it was at second base, and it just got us all dropping our mouths. And it's neat to watch you as you're commentating and enjoying what you do. So we appreciate you being here, and if there's anything we can do for you, we're here.
You're doing everything that you can. I really appreciate it, and I like this. I don't really have a dog in the fight. Yeah, we're rooting for our team, Rochester, but I don't have any kids playing or anything like that, so I can just come out here and this Bremen Mississinewa game. There's a shot. Drop there, misplayed, but good job backing up by the center fielder. So Weldy gets aboard with a single to start things off. Brings up Schmucker. I just enjoy it. I can sit here and I can enjoy the games. I did 4 years of my daughter's basketball, and that can get stressful.
Yeah. I found myself, I had to leave, and when my boy was playing last game,
right,
I had to leave so I could go yell. so I didn't interrupt things up here.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing that she liked when I started doing this, because I asked her after the first year of it, I said, do you want me to keep doing this? She's like, yeah, Dad, because you don't yell at me. Because I can't yell, while I'm on here. And there's a
nice
shot.
hit.
That's going to get way out there in the left. Weldy wheeling around to third.
Stopped him.
Yeah. Not the fastest kid on the team out there, but he's able to wheel around from first to third. Schmucker in at second with a double, so Bremen's got some things going here. Still no outs in the top of the fifth, and big Noah Wildauer comes to the plate. That one's going to get past. This is, like I said, this is a Bremen team. I saw about 4 of their games last week at semi-state, and they got some capability to do some things like they're doing right here. So, they're only down 2 runs.
One good base hit here might tie it up.
Right. Go ahead is at the plate. And this whole setup here, Paul, is just awesome. You got a little park over here. If the kids get a little restless, send them over there to the park, let them play. Very similar to the one of the parks up at Plymouth where they have kind of this type of setup. So.
One thing I think is kind of neat, and we were laughing about it here earlier, and I don't know if the viewers can see it, but we have a van parked out there in left field.
Yeah.
People laying on top of the van and
yeah.
inside the van watching the game. It's neat that you can pull up a hit batter there.
Oh, that's going to put the bases full. Wildauer with the hit by pitch, and that's going to bring up his brother Jack. So nice little opportunity here for Bremen with no outs.
We do have less people that park out there on a 12U game because more of a chance of hitting a car.
Right.
But, it's neat to see everyone back up, pull their trucks up, set their chairs in the back of the trucks. It's a neat setting. The kids love the park, and there's usually a wiffle ball game going on in the park as well. And the kids that just finish a game or waiting for the next one usually are over there playing.
Well, I spent a lot of time in the early 2000 era when they were building the school over here in Frankton, selling tools and stuff to those guys as they were building that school. So I know a little bit about the community. It's been a long time since I've been down here, but this is just like every community that we cover in our area. Just a small town. Everybody's just doing the best they can to make things happen, and we appreciate all of the efforts. This is beautiful facility, and you guys are doing a great job putting this tournament on.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I appreciate everything you're doing.
So Wildauer able to stay alive here, battles off the 2-2 count. Bremen with a nice opportunity here. Wildauer with Devine, and then Forbes coming up. Bases loaded with no outs. When did we change the pitcher, Paul? I didn't see that. The inning, okay, so Cox didn't even miss that one.
Talking about baseball and
right.
Good games.
So Cox is on the mound, and Stearns moves over to third. Count is full. Devine, there's a shot. That's going to score a run. They're going to have the fielder's choice, get the out at second. Wildauer is going to be safe at first with an RBI. Puts Bremen on the board. So runners at the corners now for Devine.
This is getting interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Still got a good opportunity with just one out. You know, Devine coming up in the 10th spot here for Bremen, but I've seen him do some things for him. So he's got a good opportunity here. That's going to get through. And the tying run is in for Bremen, so Devine gets the RBI. And we are tied up. See, Paul, you come up here and things happen. It gets exciting. B.J. Forbes, the leadoff hitter, is up now for Bremen. I better get these scores in here. The guys at home are going to want to see that their Lions are tied up.
Oh.
Did they change the call or did they stick with it? They changed it to a strike?
Nope, they stuck with it. He called a strike. I just got corrected.
Okay, so 1 ball, 1 strike.
One ball, 1 strike.
All right, so runners at first and second. Forbes, that's going to get through. Let's see what they're going to do. Wildauer's going to hold, so the bases are loaded again here for Bremen. Wildauer at third, Devine at second, and Forbes in with a single. So the bat's heating up here for Bremen in the top of the 5th. It's going to bring up big Corbin Van Buren, the right fielder. All right, we're going to have a timeout here. The Mississinewa coach wants to talk things over with his pitcher Cox and the team there. Check this one out, Paul.
He needs to stop the bleeding.
My pitch cam.
That's a pretty good picture right there.
Yeah. I got that second camera there. I'm going to use it every once in a while. It doesn't give a real wide angle like I get from the main cam. But keep that there just in case the first cam goes out.
I think Mississinewa needs to control things right here. It could get ugly quickly.
You got 3 balls? That one in for a strike. It's either 2-1 or 3-1. They're saying 3. Now I'll go with the official scoreboard there. They're saying 3-1.
I have not seen a sign from them.
All right. So count is full. Bases are full. 1 out here in the top of the 5th.
It's 2-2.
Okay.
Saw.
I should have went with my better judgment there. Oh, fouls that one back right off of the handle of the bat.
He's a number 4 batter, isn't he?
No, number 2 batter.
Number 2 batter.
Yeah. Yeah. Now the count is full for Devine.
Van
Buren. All right, now everybody's a little 3-2, 3-2.
A little bit of confusion there on the count. The ump just showed full count.
Yeah. The only thing that Van Buren stays alive. The only thing that they might do a little bit more is show the count, I guess. But the ump's doing a really good job here. I think their strike zone has been very consistent tonight. And he is making Cox work. He's keeping the ball in play.
Yeah, we've talked many times about in our rec league even that, you know, you can have a great at bat. You can even strike out and have a great at bat. You're tiring out the pitcher. He's into, 7, 8 pitches, 9 coming up, I think.
Yep.
That's a good at bat even though he struck out.
Right.
Fought for it, wearing out their pitcher.
So Van Buren with a strikeout. Number 8, Landon Bates, is going to come up with Silas Ledig on deck. So we got a courtesy for the catcher on third with 2 outs. Bates is dangerous at the plate. He can make something happen here. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see a little squeeze here. I've seen him lay down some nice bunts. Hasn't shown anything. 2 balls, no strikes. Right now, Cox is going to be working from behind.
He could really use a strike right here.
Bates going to be taken all the way here on 3-0. Bases loaded. We're all tied at 2 here in the top of the 5th.
Just walked in one.
Wait a minute. What? That was a late call. Did he call it? Now I'm really confused. So he calls a strike, so all right, let's just let him figure things out here. He did call a strike, but the Bates was already halfway to first when he called it.
Does that mean Bates would have scored?
Well, Devine at third, so it was a pass ball. So if it was a strike, pass ball, that run should count. So the run counts.
Well, the runner's advanced.
Yeah, everybody is advanced. Or actually, Wildauer was at third. All right, so full count. I've got the Lions now with 3 runs. And Bates able to fight that one off to stay alive. All right. So Bates goes down, but Bremen gets 3 here in the top of the 5th, and after 4.5, regain the lead by a score of 3-2 over Mississinewa. When we come back in the bottom of 5, it's going to be Bumgardner, Cox, and Matamoros.
Sorry, he had 3 and 1, so did I. On that one ball.
Zach. I think he's on a great game.
All right, welcome back here as we get set for the bottom of the 5th here from Frankton. It's been a good game here between Bremen and Mississinewa. Bremen able to pick up 3 runs there in the top of the 5th, now lead by a score of 3-2. When we're coming back here, leading things off is going to be Bumgardner, followed by Cox and Matamoros for Mississinewa. Bumgardner struck out his only time up back in the 3rd inning. And the new pitcher for Bremen is going to be number 10, Brady Weldy. Coming in, replacing Leidig, who went 4 innings. Allowed 2 runs for Mississinewa. Two balls, 1 strike for Bumgardner. There's a shot, hard to short, play over to first, in time for out number 1. Nice play by Martin over there at shortstop. That's going to bring us back to the top of the lineup, number 44, Cox. 2 for 2 on the night, has a single. There's a shot. Nice hop, nice play there by Martin, out number 2. Another 6-3 put out for the second out. Matamoros comes to the plate. That's a hard hit ball that's going to die right there, and a nice play at first by Schmucker for out number 3. 1-2-3. Mississinewa goes down here in the bottom of the 5th. So we're going to come back here for the 6th and final inning with Bremen leading 3-2. Coming up to the plate for the Lions is going to be Leidig, Martin, and Weldy when we come back here on RTC TV4. All right, here we go. 6th inning. And Silas Lading leading it off. Cranks one. That goes for 1.5 miles, but fortunately for Mississinewa, unfortunately for Lading, it's going to be foul. And he got a hold of that one. Bremen leading 3-2 here coming into the 6th. New pitcher on the mound for Mississinewa is Yoder, number 12. Tell you his first name, but they didn't tell me. Again, we appreciate everybody for tuning in to our coverage here. We appreciate everybody here at Frankton for all their hospitality and help here with RTC TV4. If you want to get a live shout out, let us know where you're watching from. You can tweet it to me at RTC TV4, or you can get on to our Facebook page as well. Huge announcement coming out on Facebook from RTC TV4, so if you check that out, you can see we got some big things coming out here next week. August 1st is going to be a big day here at RTC TV4, so check out our Facebook page, a little promo video we put out today telling a little bit about what we got coming up. That one's going to be trouble. That's going to drop in fair territory. Lading's going to go around. He's going to make it over to second. And a good hustle play there by Lading. That one dropped right in between second baseman, first baseman, and the right fielder just off of first base for a leadoff double for Silas Lading. It's going to bring up Martin. No outs here in the top of the 6th for Bremen. Brady Weldy is on deck. Martin squares up. Oh, that's a nice bunt. Martin's got some wheels. He's going to beat that out. Lading's going to go around. Play at the plate. Oh, they got him. Great play. They got him. He didn't even get close to the plate. Nice job there by the catcher for that Schnepp, the catcher for Mississinewa. Huge play there, holding that run. Bremen might have got a little greedy there with that play. Nice throw in from first. So 1 out now with Martin on first. Brady Weldy at the plate with Schmucker on deck. Weldy, a little knuckler down to first. And that's going to be out number 2. That moves the runner Martin over to second. It's going to bring up Schmucker with Noah Wildauer on deck. 2 outs now for Bremen. Mississinewa able to come back in the bottom of the 6th. That play at the plate there by the Indians is going to be the one that saved the game for them. Bremen still has some life left in them. 2 outs here in the top. Runner at second for Schmucker. Schmucker 1 for 2. He had a double and scored back in the 5th for Bremen. Swing and a miss on that one. 2 balls, 1 strike here for Jeffrey Schmucker. That one misses outside. Ball 3. Fouls that one back. Count goes full now for Schmucker. Yoder's doing a nice job here in the top of the 6th for Mississinewa on the mound. Three balls, 2 strikes. Payoff pitch coming from Yoder. There's a hard hit ball. That is out of here. Oh, we got to hit the buzzer. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. No, did it bounce over? He was on second. So you get 2 then? Yeah, you oog it early. All right, so actually ground rule double, but there was 1 run scored. Martin goes in. Schmucker on second with that. Brings up Noah Wildauer with 2 down here in the top of the 6th for Bremen. That one's going to be shot up the middle. Schmucker should be able to get in. Oh, nice throw. And they got him. 2 plays at the plate in the same inning. Out number 3, so Mississinewa keeping themselves alive in this one. Bremen does get 1 run, but Mississinewa shut 2 down coming to the plate here in the top of the 6th. So we go to the bottom here. Mississinewa has got to make up some ground, trailing 4-2 over Bremen. We'll take a break and come back. When we get back for Mississinewa, Rock, Stearns, and Fortney are going to be your batters coming up. We'll be back in a moment. Thanks for watching RTC TV4. All right, welcome back here, RTC TV4. Man, it has been an exciting evening of baseball here at Frankton, and this game has not disappointed. Bremen has scored 4 runs in the 5th and 6th inning combined, and now lead Mississinewa 4-2 coming into the bottom of the 6th. Mississinewa's got to get at least 2 here to either keep the game going or 3 to win it. Number 10, Rock, going to lead things off. Weldy on the mound for the Lions in the 6th inning. That one is going to be foul for strike 1. Winner of this game takes on Rochester tomorrow. If it's Bremen, that's going to be a rematch of the first round of the semi-state. Of course, Mississinewa and Rochester have not met. Ought to be an entertaining contest tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon. That'll be a 3 o'clock game. And we saw a great game in game number 1. Frankton pulling out the big win, 3-0 over Plymouth. And here in game number 2, this is what you expect when you get to the 12U state level. And we have not been disappointed. There is a hard hit ball going to find the gap in left center. And Rock going to lead things off with a double for the Indians. That's going to bring up Stearns with Fortney on deck. No outs here in the bottom of the 6th. So the tying run is at the plate here for Mississinewa. They're going to run him all the way back to second, trying to induce a throw, see if they can't get Bremen to make an error and move on a base. Good job there by the catcher. One ball, one strike. Silas Lading, the catcher now. He switched with, there's a play. Nice play there at short, over to first. What a play by Martin. Good gravy, that kid is good over there. Man alive. So Rock moves over, Stearns grounds out for out number one, and that brings up Fortney. Fortney 1 for 2 on the evening. Gets out on the outside corner. That outside corner is available, and Weldy found it right there. Swing and a miss, strike 2 for Fortney. On deck is Yoder. No balls, 2 strikes. There's a little dribbler and no play. On with a single, and that scores Rock. Fortney is on. And Yoder represents the winning run with the tying run on at first. Lady, nice play over there. Almost gets the runner at first. Still just 1 out here for Bremen. Oh, a throwing error. That's not good. Runner is going to round. Tying run is in, and over at third on a bunt with an error is Yoder. Okay, well, not really sure exactly what just happened. All I know is where we are is 1 out. Score is now tied, Mississinewa 4, Bremen 4, with a runner on third for Mississinewa. That's going to be Yoder at third. Barnes is going to be up with 1 out. All right, this has been a great game. You hate to see it end the way both of these teams have played. One of them is going to have to lose. Mississinewa now with the big opportunity. The go-ahead or the winning run is at third with Barnes on at the plate with one out. Quadrer is on deck. And there's a bunt. And Yoder scores on the walk-off. RBI by Barnes on the bunt, and Bremen is going to lose to Mississinewa. Final score is going to be 5-4 in favor of Mississinewa. Tough way to lose there in the bottom of the sixth for the Lions. 3 runs across as they go into the inning leading 4-2, but Mississinewa comes back with 3 and wins 5-4. So we are set for tomorrow. 9 a.m. game at Madison Grant taking on Plymouth. Winner will play Saturday night at 7:30. Loser is done. 11 a.m. Lewis Cass taking on Bremen. The winner of that game will play at 5:30. The loser is done. 1 p.m. is going to be Frankton taking on Fairfield. The winner will play Sunday at 1. The loser of that game will play at 5:30. Game number 4 is going to be Rochester versus Mississinewa at 3 p.m. The winner of that plays the winner of Frankton Fairfield at 1. The loser drops down and will play again at 7:30 tomorrow night. So it's been a great first 2 days of coverage here from Frankton. Appreciate everybody that's tuned in to our broadcast here on RTC TV4. We will be back tomorrow starting at 1 p.m. with the Frankton Fairfield game. We'll have that one. We'll have the 3 p.m., the 5:30, and the 7:30 p.m. games tomorrow. And then on Sunday, we'll have a 1 p.m., a 3 p.m., and a 5:30 p.m. game. And then Monday at 6 and 7:45 if necessary. So, again, we appreciate all the hospitality here at Frankton. We appreciate everybody that tuned in to our broadcast here the past 2 days. And we'll see you back here from Frankton tomorrow at 1 as we get the things underway with Frankton and Fairfield. For everyone back at the office, Scott Sager, Dakota Libby, everybody for covering all this. Thanks to Paul out there on the field. Steve Stricker saying good night here from Frankton. Mississinewa advances 5-4 over Bremen. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in here to RTC TV4.